There we go. So welcome, Paulo. If you'd like to get started with a quick introduction, folks, Paulo prefers to have questions answered at the end of the session. So we have the chat open. If you want to pop in your questions over there while we go through the presentation, and then in the end, we're going to go through the questions, all right? Welcome, Paulo. You can get started.
Okay, thank you very much. Hello, everyone. Here we have 43 participants right now, assistants. And now I'm so excited to take this topic. Several of you contact me from LinkedIn and through the event page, expressing their great need to know a little or a lot about the North Star metric, right? So that is an important topic. I think too much people here needs information about this. Yes, I'm gonna try. This is only one idea in how to do a data collection, build objectives and KPIs. And at the end, find a North Star metric according with all the information that we got, right? So let's start. To begin, I just want to put in context about the growth hacking in a nutshell quickly. The growth hacking is an agile methodology. We need to understand that we have objectives and KPIs, and we need to be improved. And we need to do it quickly in agile methodology, doing the creating ideas to improve that KPIs and do it in a short time. I suggest 1 to 2 weeks at least, because we need to get learnings to take decisions, right? So that is very important. Second, this methodology needs to have a wow product, a wow service. It's very important to know that the service we are giving and the product we are serving is very important to have and to do the difference with the competence. The customer focus is very, very, very important in growth hacking. I think is the main line that we need to take in mind. Sorry? Okay. We need to have in mind all the time the customer. If you check it out, the experiments software by GrowthHackers, you know, every time you create an idea, you can identify what is in the funnel customer, it will work, right? Data analysis, I think it's difficult to understand, difficult to work with that. Not all the data is important. Not always we have the data that we need to improve our KPIs. And this session, we will talk about this topic. Experimentation ideas. We need to have a culture of experimentation. It's not easy when we start with a growth hacking project, but when we do it, we can find and do pretty good things and get the learnings that we need to improve our goals, right? So this is in context what growth hacking. But we are here to talk about the North Star metric. To start, just let me show you this book. I think all of you know that. It's by Sean Ellis and Morgan Brown.
I hadn't seen it in Spanish yet.
Yes, this is the Spanish version. Okay, and if we talk about the North Star metric science, this book, we can find that some people say because this methodology has like, I don't know, 10, 12 years ago in Silicon Valley, But to start, the people say the most important in this methodology is the only metric that matters. Yes, that is North Star metric. But Chanel say, okay, I prefer to say this is a guiding light. This is where we need to be focused, and to understand better what the North Star metric is. We have a question here, and is based on the experience required of the product or service. Which of the variables in the growth equation represented the best? Well, we will back with this question later, but let me show you the revelation moments for these three companies, right? Remember, the revelation moment is when we understand what is the best feature that have our product or our service. In this case, WhatsApp, for example, has a revelation moment, like the people communicating with each other, right? That is the revelation moment. And they, in that moment, when they understand their business, they set North Star metric like number of messages, right? Talking about Airbnb, the revelation moment is nights people sleep in a room or apartment. The nights when the people sleep, yes. So their North Star metric was number of nights. Remember, the North Star metric could be setting for a next 3 months or next 6 months, but it is not the same all the time. We have to change the North Star metric while we are growing our business. At the end, Starbucks coffee, for example, they understand the revelation moment like smell of coffee and time inside the shop. That is very nice. It's not about sales. It's about the people, the time the people spend inside the shop. That is the North Star metric in that moment. Maybe if we ask for those companies.
Paulo, you have muted yourself. You're on mute, Paulo. There you go.
Okay, can you hear me, right? Okay,
yeah.
Right, thank you. Okay, so this is about the a research that the GrowthHackers are doing right now. This is not a public information list, but we have like 3 slides that they shared with me. Thank you very much. And about this is a very important information for this webinar, because this is the question. Have you defined an North Star metric? If we are talking about the people who is using the growth hacking project, right? So if you can see, the people who is working with growth hacking and don't use the North Star metric, it's 17.4%. And the people who is not defining, maybe don't know how to do it, or maybe just starting, is 23.5%. It's like the middle of the people who is working in a growth hacking project is not working with a North Star metric. When you go to vacations, for example, you can say, oh, tomorrow I will go to vacations. Where are you going? I don't know, but I'm going to travel. I'm going to fly to wherever I can go. No, you need to plan. You need to have a focus. So in this case, it's the same when you have a growth hacking product, right? So the people who don't use an North Star metric, please do it. I'm going to show you how you can do it in this session, right? And the people who it's difficult to understand how to do it, maybe I understand, maybe the people is working in e-commerce, because we have people who has, for example, a web application or a mobile application as a product. It's easier, but when you are working in e-commerce, for example, you have e-commerce platform, you have marketplaces, you have a physical shop, you have maybe social media sites. So you have a lot of places, several channels to sell your products. You can have several categories. So in this case, you have many variables, and it's very difficult to understand, hey, what is my way? I need to choose just one metric, and it's very difficult for me. By the way, I work a lot with e-commerce clients, so I can help you if this is your case, right? Let me show you this book. This is by Bernard Marr. Is about big data. Really, is about smart data. This book let me understand what is the difference between big data and the smart data, because in this case we need to focus on smart data. Big data is a lot of information that we have in databases, and maybe we need too much money, too much people, too much resources to analyze that information. But when you take the smart data, will be better, will be easier for you. I recommend this book for you, and the matrix that I will press and I will share with you. I don't know if we can send the file, but I'm going to show you in a little moment. Thank you very much. I'm going to show you how we are collating data, understanding the project, understanding all the business, not only the marketing, because some people think that growth hacking is marketing. This is a little part of growth hacking. We have a lot of things that we have in mind to do a growth hacking project, right? And this is the things that how we can measure, to have a measurement, right? For example, survey research. I love the service, right? With the right people in the right moment and the right questions, right? But a survey can give you a lot of information with a high value, right? Interview, self-assessment, performance. Okay, you have here a lot of choices to have a measurement. Yes, it's not only Google Analytics or your sales in your ERP or your e-commerce platform. You have a lot of information you can check and take decisions. Yes. By the way, like I work in e-commerce, we use this tool. I recommend is Smart DBI. Here in Mexico, it's very interesting to understand that if we have several channels like e-commerce, social media, marketplaces, I can have one dashboard with all the information, and I can analyze all that information in only one part. So that is very important. I just put only here if you have to check it out, right? And this is about the matrix that I want to show you today. By the way, this is, let me check it out here. This is the file that I'm going to share with you. We have several tabs to understand the slide that I'm showing you. Customer, finance, operations, research, competition. This is a file with to fill this information. And here, all this starts by the book that I show you about big data. So you can find more information there, but I'm going to try to explain here how we do the task. So we have these 5 business characteristics, right? The customer, finance, operations, resource, and competition. It's very important because you only focus in marketing, you only focus in the platform, you don't only focus in the user experience. You need to check it out, all your business, all the products that you need, right? So we are going to collect data about the customer, about the finance, about the operation, resource, and competitions. And we are gonna build the objectives. These objectives will have the respective KPIs to be measured. And at the end, we will identify what is the kind of measure that I will have to get the information that I need, right? In the side of the customer, we will find information about target market and value proposition. When we talk about the finance, we will check about the revenue, profit, cash generation, shareholder value, cost, productivity, efficiency. When we talk about the operations, we will talk about the partners, suppliers, and the core competence is the people who is working for you. The resources, we talk about the IT systems and data, infrastructure, people and talent, cultures, values, and leadership. And at the end, somebody forget always the competition. That is important to check it out. Also to check it out, and the competition factors and risks. We talk about the market, competition, and customer risks, financial, IT, and people risks, right? So here is the file. So the file has different tabs. In the customers, we can find a section to put your objectives. Really, in the practice, I understand that the objectives we can write here could be objectives or directly KPIs. So I recommend just find 3, no more. If you, but the first you need to answer these questions. These questions will help you to understand your target market. These questions will help you to understand the value proposition. Those questions is not mandatory. That is not the only ones. You can put your own questions, right, to understand better your business. In this case, your target market, your value proposition. For example, in a recent project, we are working with B2C clients and B2B clients. So we need to add questions to understand better our B2B segmentation, right? But when you do this task, you can answer all these questions, and you will understand what is your needs. In that case, you can put here in your objectives like KPIs, like I said before, no matter, and we will see at the end what we are going to do with this information. And here in the bottom of the sections, you can find the best measurement that you can use for each business characteristic. For example, for customers, you can do a survey research data, you can do search engine data, social media, and eyeball tracking. You know, if you have, you need to understand what the people do in your physical store. You can put sensors and a lot of things. It's not only for digital environment, you can use it for all your business, remember. So when you feel all this information about the customer, about the finance, remember, I'm going to share with you this file so you can understand better the questions that we have for each business characteristic. What is the information that you will need to analyze to build your objectives and KPIs, right? I am pretty sure that if you do the task correctly, you answer the questions, you will find what is your needs about each characteristic, right? I'm pretty sure we are applying this format for several clients from us. It's very useful. That guide us a lot. Very good for the way to find our North Star metric, right? So here, how we build the objectives and KPIs, like I said before. So first, identify all the KPIs for each of the business characteristics. So when we fill this information, we will try to put here, like I said before, 1 to 3 objectives or KPIs that can help you to improve that characteristic. What do we need to have better finance? What do we need to have to improve the things that the customer successful, the operation, the resource and competition. Later, we need to group our KPIs by a system that you consider practical. Well, what is working for us? In this case, it's funny because we saw this in several projects. And at the end, here in KPIs, we organize all the KPIs for groups. And we understood that we can organize like in order to follow the customer conversion funnel. Remember, customer conversion funnel is the acquisition, activation, retention, revenue, and referral. And we can identify all these KPIs we have in each tab. And for example, for customer, we have 3 KPIs, but one is according to acquisition, the second one is to activation, and the third one is to referral, right? And in finance, excuse me, you can find only one objective, and maybe is to the revenue. And the operations, you can find 2 objectives, and maybe at the end, that objectives in operations could be from retention. And that works for us, but it's not mandatory. It's like we do the task, and that works for us. But you can grow your KPIs if you can find different groups, and at the end, each group, sorry. At the end, each group will be your objective. Yes, your objective for the growth hacking project. And remember, it's very recommended that you don't have more than 4 objectives. Yes, here we have 5. Maybe you can focus in 3 or 4, and that is the project that you will work for 3 months or for 6 months, like the methodology suggests, right? Here at the end, in the third point, is define the periodicity in which the KPIs are going to be measured, right? So in this case, we have, okay, we understand I have my KPIs for acquisition, no more than 3. I can compose my objective that I will put in my experiments software by GrowthHackers. And we need to choose what is the periodicity that I will be measuring that KPI. For example, for a week, each 2 weeks, monthly. And in that case, you can organize your time and your team to choose to analyze the information, right? And how to define the objectives? Well, now we have the KPIs, like I said before. Here we select if it's for acquisition, activation, or maybe you have another kind of growth. And at the end, you can redact the objective, trying to take in mind all the KPIs you are using, right? So you can say my objective of acquisition will have or we want to get something that has all these 3 KPIs, right? And you can go to your, if you are using experiments, for example, create your objective and put your KPIs and connect with your the system that you choose to be measured. The second, well, you are going to establish a formula for each objective. I don't know if all of you remember the book by Sean Ellis. We can't create an equation from each objective. Yes, for example, in this case, I'm writing here KPI 1 plus KPI 2 multiplied by KPI 3. When we use a multiplied by, we use it when we have a KPI, when it's an average, for example. An average is not moving a lot, it's not a high range. So we can use it like to multiply, right? So when you have numbers of, when you have amount of or number of sales, for example, you can do an adding, right? The important here is to choose an equation for each objective, right? Because that will give you a number that will be measured in the general equation when you say, okay, what is the equation of my project? So you can add all the final KPIs or final rates in your project. So I have acquisition, and for example, you have the same one in all the one. You can add all the objectives, all the equations, and you will have the last number. And I will talk about this number in a moment, right? This formula that you get here will guide your objective. Yes, sure. I take in mind other a draw I will show you in a moment, but here is the example. For example, I have my objective is acquisition. My KPIs are number of people registered and the new user traffic. This is the abbreviator. So my final number in acquisition is the NPR plus NUT. Yes, when I add my KPIs and I have my number of my objective. Yes, I need to do this with each objective. And what is the resulting North Star metric? Yes, let me show you. This is about the research I mentioned before by the GrowthHackers. like I say, it's not public right now, but I have this information because it's important to understand, in this case, what types the North Star metric we can use, following the Sean Ellis book, right? For example, we can choose customer growth, we can choose revenue, engagement, efficiency, consumption. And the examples that the people who is using those North Star metrics, for example, customer growth, are using the 26.24%. And what is the KPIs? The KPIs using is number of paid customers, number of paid subscribers, market share, new accounts. This is more according to web app or mobile app as a product, right? When we are talking about e-commerce, if this is your case, maybe you say, okay, that is not my North Star metric because I have, for example, problems with delivery, for example, or I have problems with the product. So you have several variables. So this is no easier, but I'm gonna tell you how can you do it, right? But with the in order with this research, revenue is using by 24.82% of the people, and the KPIs related is annual or monthly recurring revenue, new recurring revenue, operational profit, transaction volume, TVP, and GMV, right? This is the most common customer growth and revenue. Let me show you this slide because this is about the industry. What is the North metric are using depending of the industry. In SaaS and tech, the most common is revenue and customer growth, and with only 14% is the engagement. The agency consultancy, like us, customer growth and revenue. In the industry about the banking and fintech is customer growth. Remember, customer growth is the most used North Star metric. Efficiency, 23%, and revenue. Retail and e-commerce use efficiency and revenue is a high average here in 55%. Media use the customer growth and the revenue, and education, the user experience, obviously, and the revenue with 16%. Okay, so this is because you need to understand what is the North Star metric, depending of your industry. Maybe it can work for you, but I think when you do the task, this task, you can find what is your first problem. What do you need to be focused, right? Maybe you have 5 objectives. In those 5 objectives, maybe acquisition, activation, and retention are the more important. Maybe you are a startup, that is when you start, but you need to, I don't know, to do branding campaigns. So the acquisition is your more important KPI. Maybe it could be your North Star metric. Remember, it's easier to understand what is your path, what is the way that you need to take when you are working with an app application, for example, as a product. Yes, because your product is a software, and you manage everything in like your whole product. There go your clients, but in e-commerce it's different. So acquisition could be a little part that your project, but you need to have in mind several variables. In this case, I suggest to you to use the formula. The formula will give you a number. Yes, when you add all your equations, you could get one number. For example, 100. For other project could be 500. For other 1,000. It don't care, right? The important thing is that when you start the growth hacking project, you get one number. In this case, I'm going to choose 100. This is the result of adding all my KPIs when I start. And the challenge here is to grow this number each month. Yes. For example, this month I start with 100. Next month I get I review all my KPIs, I add my KPIs, and I get as a result 120. What should be the number in the second month? The people will say, 140, but that is not the answer. The answer is a number, a highest number, because we are talking about the exponentially growth. So in this case, you don't need to keep the same growing each month. You need to grow exponentially. So we need to grow this number, for example, 160, and the next month maybe 220. Yes. Yeah. How can we get these results? This is the methodology. So this is about, it doesn't matter what is your starting number, like I said before, if it's 100, because this is dependent about your KPIs. But this is like I imagine my KPIs in each project. That means you have your KPIs, and you can identify what KPIs is not growing, what KPIs you have down, and you need to improve the KPIs. What the methodology say. If you are generating or creating ideas of growth, this should be to improve these KPIs. So in this case, when you grow your lowest KPIs, you can improve your number, your final number. So it's very important to have in mind that maybe what is your first goal, your main objective to get in your project. But in e-commerce, for example, we are using like North Star metric, the final number, and we try to improve that number monthly. And that matters that we need to review all the KPIs weekly, each two weeks or monthly, and improve the KPIs that is lowest. I'm pretty sure you will improve all your project. You will improve all the things that you are working in your business, right? I mean, here we have people who is working like a consultant, like agency, and have several projects in the same time. That is very good because we can understand several projects, how this proposing about these metrics works. It works for us, but many people here maybe is doing a growth hacking project for your own business. So in this case, is more difficult because you don't have the choice to compare with other projects, right? So we are here to help you. I hope you could understand better. Sorry for my English, but okay, I hope you understand better as you can. I think we can answer some questions if you want, but if you don't have any time for all the questions, you can feel free to email me, and I try to answer you as soon as possible, right? Let me see here if we have questions.
Yes, there is one from Christopher Shelf. So I'm going to read out the question for you, if that's okay. So instead of focusing on just sales, for our coaching business, it would be amount of people in our coaching calls, right? Which includes the sales, but is also about how often people use our knowledge and support. Hence, we'll more likely get successful and thus support the growth of our business through success stories, referrals, etc. You got the idea.
Okay, Christopher, let me see here. Okay. When we talk about we have a different kind of businesses, right? And you need to understand what is the moment of your business. That is the most important thing. And this metric that I am sharing with you can help you to understand what is your moment, because when you are a startup, you are starting your business, maybe that you are talking about is to get people. What are you going to do to get people, to get calls, to get people interested in your business, right? But in other case, you have a lot of people that knows you right now, but the people needs other kind of services, or maybe don't like the service that you have, or maybe it's a lot of people and you can't answer all the people all the time. Yes. So in this case, you need to improve other kind of things. For example, maybe your service is, wow, you have the best service, many people knows you, many people call, but you have only one person who is getting the calls, right? Attending the calls. So what you need to do, get more people, or maybe create a system to schedule your meetings. I don't know, depending of your needs, right? So I think in order to answer your question, you need to understand what is your moment. Because if you say, I know what is my North Star metric, depend of the objectives that you need in this moment. Like I said before, maybe in your first 3 months in the project, you need more people. But in in the next 3 months, you will need another person to get the calls, because you have a lot of people in your business. So depend on your moment, but try to feel this information, because you will understand what is your moment, what is your needs, and you can find your ideal goals, right?
Paulo, there's another question from Edgar Seja. Hey, Paulo, what are some tools that you can recommend to keep track of our main KPIs?
Sorry, what is the question?
What are some tools that you can recommend to keep track of KPIs?
What do I recommend to track KPIs?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna get back for this slide. You can use all these possibilities to track your KPIs. It's very important to understand something. Thank you for the question, because sometimes we use the information or the data that we currently have, right? For example, I have Google Analytics, I don't know, the information about my platform, but sometimes when you know what is your needs, and this is about this book, because you understand, okay, I need to understand why the people don't like my service, for example. So you need to do a survey, for example, and you can use this resource to understand better your problem. But other maybe another people say, okay, I have a lot of people that pay me, but I have refunds all the time. So you need to check your checkout, your payments methodology, right? So that is different about your KPIs. So understand two things. One, you can use the currently data to understand your business, but if you understand your needs, you maybe don't have the data that you that need to be measured. So you need to choose what will be the resource that you will use to get that data. No, but understand what is the data that you need. Yeah. So this is my suggestions in the file that we will share with you. You can find the same resources, and maybe it could help you.
Paulo, there's another question from Christopher. He's asking about, he wants a little bit of a clarification, because you said that the North Star metric should be looked upon from a situational point of view. For example, what are the opportunities? What stage your company is in? And he wants to understand a little bit, shouldn't the North Star metric be an overarching metric that tracks growth? Like you gave the example for Airbnb, Facebook, and Starbucks. Should it be more like a proposition of value, or something that kind of stays the same over time, or should it change according to the situation? I think I got your question, or not, Christopher, let me know.
Okay, let me try to understand better. Okay, we are trying out about those companies. You need to understand your revelation moment. Yes, what is the, remember, when you are working with a growth hacking methodology, you need to understand what you will need to improve, what is your path, what is your revelation moment. You have maybe a product and maybe a service too. So when you understand what is your product, well, what do you need to have the best product in the category? When you understand what should be your best service in your category, you understand that you are in a revelation moment of what my product are solutioning to the people. Yes. So in this case, for example, WhatsApp say, okay, I can to communicate people. The people can talk wherever they are, but need an internet, right? That is a problem, because they don't could do a call, a phone call, right? So, but if you see right now, they have video call. Yes, now you can take a video call. So the things are changing in their business. For example, what happened with the number of the people who is using the Airbnb model? For example, now they could say, I don't care the number of the nights the people is spending in the service. Maybe right now my North Star metric is to understand how many people is using the Airbnb service, putting their resources, their houses, their own houses. Maybe the people are buying houses to use the Airbnb services. So in that case, this is another revelation moment. So if you want to set a North Star metric, that is not for all the time. The North Star metric is in a moment in your business. And that means that you are doing your project for 3 months or 6 months. In the next 6 months, for example, we check it out, the KPIs, the objectives, and maybe my business is taking another way. So I need to change my North Star metric, right? Sometimes when we start with growth hacking, we make a mistake. So we think, my North Star metric is, I don't know, the traffic in my site. But in the middle of the time, you say, this is no, give me my way in my business. I need to change because I need to have more activation. So I need to, for example, do a marketing campaign to convert the people in my site, and that is my North Star metric. Sometimes we made a mistake and we need to change in a moment, but try to set your North Star metric for a moment for 3 to 6 months, and later you will need to review and try to understand what is your moment to change the North Star metric, because surely you will need to change it, right?
So there are a few comments in the chat. They're not properly questions, but so Christopher has contributed saying that North Star metric must be the umbrella for your entire company, so that every business unit can always contribute. So the idea is that you're going to decide on where your business is going as a team, and also how you deliver value, how you grow your business by defining that one true metric, and then the entire company is going to contribute to achieving that goal. And they're talking about a little bit more about tools, and Maya made a few suggestions on using Data Studio, Metabase, Post-Hoc dashboards, Amplitude. She says she's having a little bit of problems with Google Analytics because it's getting a little bit obsolete because of GDPR in Europe. And let me see. And Christopher, do you want a recap on the definition of North Star metric?
Okay. The definition of North Star metric is not easy to do. Here is the guiding light, like Chanel said in the book. But let me try to explain to you. You have several objectives in your project, right? You need to follow all the KPIs of those objectives. That is very important because in your project, you need to have in mind several variables. But maybe, like I said before, in a moment, you need to do more efforts, for example, for acquisition, or more efforts for activation. So you can get your acquisition objective and put like a North Star metric, right? So in our case, when we work in e-commerce, we find we have a lot of variables So we need maybe when you define one objective, you have, I don't know, maybe 10 KPIs. For example, in this exercise, you define your objectives and KPIs for each characteristic. And you will find that, for example, when you go to the end and you put your KPIs, and for example, in activation, I have 10 KPIs. In acquisition 1, in retention 2, in revenue 1, in referral 1. But the most KPIs is according to your activation objective. In that case, this is telling you that your North Star metric is that objective. Yes, because you have a lot of things to solve in that objective. But in other cases, when you have the same number of amount of KPIs for each objectives, for example, you need to choose one. Yes. In my case, it works that I use the number resulting of the annual inflation, but for other people could work concrete objectives. For example, I need to raise my orders, I need to increment my revenue, I need to get more people activating, or my business is very mature and now I need to get a referral program, and I'm gonna do in the next 3 months a referral ideas to improve the referral program and get people who is referring my product, right? So again, it's depending of your moment. It's depending of the things that you need to improve. So try to select the most important thing in that moment. That is the North Star metric. If you ask to me, what is your North Star metric in this moment? I try to identify what is my big problem, what is my big goal in my business, and that is North Star metric, and how I'm gonna get it.
Thank you, Paulo. I don't think there are any more questions. Would you like to add any final thoughts before we finish this session?
Okay, no, thank you very much for all the people is here. It's exciting to talk about this topic. It's difficult to understand sometimes. When we are starting in North Star metric projects, we have, I think, three difficult goals. The first one is the culture of experimentation. When you build your team, get experimentation culture is very difficult. The second one is to identify what is your North Star metric. By the way, it's important to identify first your main objectives and later your North Star metric. And the last one is to use the data. Yes, the people, even when have a lot of data, we have a lot of information, take decision based in your fields. So I think I'm e-commerce expert, 10 years using e-commerce, and sometimes I say, okay, this will work, but the data say other kind of things. So it's very important to try to get a culture of experimentation. One, to try to understand how to build your North Star metric. Maybe you can get it in the first intent, but you can do it trying to follow your decisions based on the data, right? And that is my suggestion. And I think you can improve, and I don't know if you are going to share this file, but maybe if you do the task, you can understand better how you can find better objectives, better KPIs, and at the end to build your North Star metric.
Thank you so much, Paulo. Thank you so much for everyone who joined us here. You are going to receive an email afterwards with this recording, the spreadsheet, and any other materials that Paulo wants me to share with you. As for the next things to be learned, if anyone wants to iron the sheet about understanding the basics of growth hacking, what it is, what it isn't, misconceptions, how to start a team, we have invited Anuja Dija. He was one of the guys that started out GrowthHackers along with Sean Ellis, and he's going to be bringing out some basic concepts for us on May 11th. So I've shared the link here there you go, at the chat, and feel free to sign up to that as well. As for the state of growth that Paulo has shared brilliantly, a few insights that we've taken at this stage, we are finishing to wrap up the report, and in a couple of weeks, give or take, you're going to be getting a copy at your inboxes as well.
Okay, thank you very much.
Guys. See you next time.
Okay, thank you everyone.